This week on the podcast, Carrie sharing the details of her most recent royal adventure and how she managed to take me on a moonlit stroll virtually while she was there. And then she headed over to Universal Orlando. Find out how she fared with the rides and what she did at Volcano Bay. Stay tuned. You're listening to the Pixie Dust Fan Podcast. Hi, I'm Francine.
And I'm Carrie.
We're two best friends who can't stop talking, usually about Disney stuff.
Sometimes we have fascinating guests, and sometimes it's just us. But it's always positive and fun.
We're happy to have you join our chat. Thanks for listening, and let's get started. Well, hello, pal. Welcome back.
Hello?
Hello? How are you doing? You were away on an epic adventure without me. And you're home and ready.
I know, I've been reminded a few times.
I know, I've sent her messages, just so she didn't forget about me while she was gone.
We had a couple of chats.
We did. You took me on a moonlit stroll. So people don't know, you went on was it a Royal Caribbean cruise?
Yeah, Freedom of the Sea.
Freedom of the Sea, and then you did a few days in Orlando at Universal.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I did.
Yeah, so this week we were going to talk all about your trip. But first, how you feeling there, Skippy?
I may have a bit of I brought home a frog.
You brought home a frog?
It wasn't Kermit. But I did try to bring home Super Grover from the SeaWorld store at the airport, and they didn't have any Super Grover stuffies. We want to talk about bringing something home.
Oh, a Super Grover would have been fantastic, but instead you brought home a frog in your throat. Oh, Carrie.
From all the fun.
Well, so you just arrived home. You just arrived home like a couple hours ago. So everybody should know this is how dedicated Carrie is to the podcast. She gets off the plane, she gets in her car, she drives home, she puts on these earphones, and she's ready to record because we're running out of time.
And it was a very smooth transfer home. We got picked up by Glenda's husband in his big truck. I had to I had to run for it to get into it because it's one of those big jumbo trucks. He had a hot tea waiting for us, hot coffee and tea. So it was a nice smooth ride home. I don't think I've been picked up from the airport in forever. So
when was the last time you were picked
VIP,
up?
I might see if he's available for future
for future rides,
for future pickups.
Well, it sounds like perfect service.
It was good. We flew Transat out of Toronto. It was a very delightful experience. Thank you, Transat.
You were worried about this Transat flight because we don't really fly a lot of Transat.
We don't fly a lot of Transat, and I wasn't afraid. Transat's been around forever, and fun fact, let me Google it here, or maybe let me see, Transat.
It's funny that you say fun fact, and then you have to pause to go find the fun fact.
Well, I want to make sure I'm accurate. Okay, yeah, so I wanted to get the number right. So today is their 35th anniversary. I couldn't remember if it was 30 or 35. Okay. They gave all of the adults on the plane a mini bottle of sparkling wine.
Oh, nice. What did you do with yours?
I drank it. Glenn and I drank it.
Oh, look at you.
Anyway, so that was kind of neat. We had our earbuds on, and then they're walking around giving us little plastic glasses and little bottles of bubbly. So today was their anniversary, and that's what they did for the people on board. So wow. I just wanted to make sure I didn't want to say it was 30. I knew it was 30 or 35. I just couldn't remember which one.
But you were a little we just weren't sure about delays, and because we don't track the Transat flights the same way. So it turned out it was great. Both ways, no hiccups, nothing.
No hiccups. There was the plane seemed fairly new, and they were very spacious seats, and they had nice technology. Like they had the televisions behind the seats.
Nice.
I was more concerned about because they only fly once a day.
Yeah, that's the only thing. So if something happens to the first flight,
what if the staff are sick, or what if something happens? Are we going to be stuck there? And they don't fly they don't fly every day either, right? So
yeah, that's the only thing.
So yeah,
but it worked out well.
Yeah, it was. I really enjoyed it.
Good. So, and then, anyway. So you came home, you basically got off the plane, you got picked up by your driver at the airport.
My VIP service.
You came home, put on your headphones, and here we are.
I tried to have a nap. If we're gonna
be honest.
If we're gonna do it in proper chronological order, and no joke, I knew that you weren't off work for another hour or two, so I tried to have a nap.
And it didn't work.
I put on one. I've been no YouTube for over a week, so I've got lots to catch up on. I put on Karen Puzzles, one of the puzzle YouTubers I watch. I like to watch her when I'm winding down, but I didn't fall asleep. My cat Charming did.
Yeah, but Carrie, I got some bad news for you. I don't think you're a good napper. You always say that I'm going to try to have a nap, but it's always try because you never actually nap.
Sometimes
it's a good idea in theory, but you're not a good napper.
I know. Well, I thought I'd try to have a nap.
Yeah, it didn't work.
And yeah. Anyway,
But now here you are, ready to share the details of your experience.
Gonna try.
And yes, so we did chat a couple times while you were away, and you did take me on a moonlit walk on the deck of the ship, so it was lovely. Thank you for that. Yep. So tell me.
So
Royal
Caribbean, Freedom of the Seas.
So the ship looked beautiful.
So the ship is an older ship, but it had been amplified, which Royal Caribbean has been, I think, slowly amplifying.
Is that what they call it? Amplified?
Yeah,
where
they
Disney
amplify.
Calls refurb, they call amplified?
Yeah, they're not reimagining or whatever, they amplify it. So they've added, but they really just have amplified, certain areas. The rooms weren't amplified. The rooms still look like 2005 or whatever.
Uh-oh.
But yeah, the ship had been amplified. But the morning, so we flew into Fort Lauderdale, took an Uber or a Lyft, I should say, to Miami. We stayed the night, and then the next day we sailed out of Miami. And when we woke up in the morning, we were getting all ready to get to the port, and we got a message, or we noticed on the app that the itinerary had changed because it was, what was her name? Hurricane Nicole. Was coming, and we kind of knew it was coming. So we were supposed to go to Bahamas and the private island Coco Cay, which is really why the whole lot of us wanted to really, really go on this experience
it. Yeah.
Because I'm sure a few of us hadn't experienced it, but also to go to Coco Cay, because that's their private island, right? That's the big water park private island, the over water bungalow,
right.
Amazing island. We didn't get to go there. So because
that kind of sucks.
Because of Hurricane Nicole, which with another fun fact, which I don't know if my facts are completely accurate. I'm not going to Google it and get you to, squawk at me again. But because November hurricanes are so rare.
Yes.
It was the very first hurricane in November on the coast for maybe 40 years.
Oh my
gosh.
And
then on the East Coast, and then on the Gulf Coast, there hadn't been a November hurricane since 1930, I think. Again, not sure if that's
and then here
if the 40 years and then 1930 is accurate, but that is what happened. That's the scenario around Miss Nicole and her, deciding to come in on our cruise. So we were supposed to go to Bahamas, and that's because that's where their private island is. And we ended up going just straight to Jamaica. So we did a sea day, we did Falmouth, Jamaica, we did a sea day back, and then our cruise is over because it was only a short cruise Monday to Friday. So bye-bye.
Wow. And
old itinerary, hello new itinerary.
It's so crazy how that happens where the hurricane, in November, you're right. It never, it's so crazy. And it kind of came out of nowhere. Usually we've got big lead ups and days and weeks of them tracking, but it kind of felt like that one, because no word of a lie, I was talking to a friend and she said something about Nicole, and I'm like, who's Nicole? Because I'll be in the news. So yeah, I'm like, who? She's like, the hurricane, and then I was talking to you, and yeah.
Well, and I think she was supposed to be a tropical storm or depression or whatever the heck it's called. And so it only, I think, turned into a Category 1. But still, it happened.
But still, I mean, when you're cruising, that's a big deal because, I mean, everybody's safe. So when you're cruising and a hurricane's coming, they go around it. They just get out of the way, right? It's not like when you're on a ship during a storm like that. They just get out of the way. That's the nice part about it. When you're on land vacationing, you can't go anywhere if the storm's coming for you. Whereas a cruise ship will just go somewhere else.
And because we're all travel nerds, we were everyone was trying to figure out where all the other ships went to, right? Because everybody that goes to Bahamas had to reroute, right? So we were trying to figure out where the Disney ships were going instead. Like, yeah, for people that wonder what happens when that happens on a cruise, like when they truly like reroute like they did us, we had no clue there was a storm anywhere. Like we sailed towards Jamaica. Weather. Got to Jamaica, the most beautiful, beautiful weather. I think there was some high winds, like a little bit higher winds, or maybe early in the morning, late, like throughout the night. But we didn't really notice. And the daytime weather was perfect, like blazing sun, heat.
Oh,
crazy.
That's so awesome. Mm-hmm. Oh, so tell me. In comparison, and I know, like, we cannot make this a 2-hour podcast because Carrie's throat may not last.
The voice.
May not last that long. But big differences. What did you like about Royal Caribbean versus, because we're a Disney-focused podcast, what did you like about Royal Caribbean better than Disney and vice versa? Like the casino. We were talking before this. You spent a couple nights in the casino.
Just for fun, because it was something to do.
I'm just amazed they're smoking in the casino.
Yeah, they're smoking on the one side of the ship in certain spots, and then there's definitely smoking in the casino.
Inside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
That was the same on Norwegian. They had non-smoking
sections, but I don't think that they paid it. Like, I don't think people paid attention to that. I think it's kind of hard for me to compare this to a Disney cruise in some ways, because like we were on a different itinerary too, right? Like this in a different, like we sailed out of Miami, and like this was not a party cruise, but the people on board were younger. They were there for a good time. So like they had, like the entertainment was great. They had lots of trivia. They had a lot of the same things that you have on a Disney cruise, like the comedians. They had the silent disco. They had musicians all over the place. Like it was like the actual entertainment and the schedule of things that you can do was very, very similar. So we had no problem finding stuff to do during the day and stuff to do in the evening. Like no problem at all. They have this ship is an older one. It's not one of their ginormous ships. It was ginormous back then when it was built, but it wasn't it's not ginormous by their standards now.
We're very detailed, so this is not a ginormous ship.
Ginormous. Well, no, but like their ships now hold like 6,000 people, right?
I know,
or whatever,
right? Like the floating
guests.
cities.
Like this one holds like 3,500, 3,600, right? Like
wow. Which is still a lot of people.
It's still, yeah.
It's huge.
It's still a lot of, but yeah, like it had a lot of those, the same experiences. So we had no problem. Their pool areas were really neat and fun and and bright and crazy. And that was, had been amplified too. They had the flow rider on board. So that's what they're doing when they're amplifying them. The older ones.
They have flow riders, the water.
The thingy, surfing, like you can surf on the back. Yeah, you can surf.
People can't see me making this gesture, but it was supposed to be surfing I was doing.
They have the surf simulator, and then they have
Did you do it?
Ice skating. No.
What?
No way,
what
Jose.
About the ice
and then they
skating?
have ice skating. They have the ice skating. But so what I'm getting to is so they had all the regular stuff that's on a cruise, right? Like all the little lounges and whatever, karaoke. Like they had all kinds of stuff.
That's really what happened to Carrie's voice.
At nighttime, the ice rink turned into a dance club. Like no joke, like legit dance club. Like so,
like
people
not on ice.
not going to the little disco on Disney, not going to the little lounge that they did the silent disco on on this ship. Like, it was a legit nightclub. Like, that's what they're going for. So, like, everybody on board is dressed up, like, in club clothes. Like, everyone's all dressed up, ready to party. There's still families on board. We saw multi-generational groups together. Like, there were still some families on board. But I guess because it's sailing out of Miami and they're shorter and they're like, this sailing was fairly, like, it wasn't very expensive sailing, right? So like it's easily accessible probably to the younger crowd. It was a bit of a party ship. So, that was a little bit different.
So Carrie singing her YMCA. Maybe that's what happened to your voice.
No, the one thing that's really cool is, like, they have...
If you guys could see her face looking at me.
No. They have, like, in their little promenade, like, this, because it's an older ship, the newer Royal Caribbeans have, like, boardwalk area, like, they have, like, all the neighborhoods. This ship just has, like, an old school, like, royal promenade, and so that's where all the shops are, and they have, like, these walkways that kind of go across... like, because they have rooms that look into the promenade. They have, like, these walkways... And you don't really think too much about them. Like, if you've never been on the ship, you just would look up and be like, okay, whatever. And Glenda had said on her cruise how, like, that was, like, the party zone. So a couple of nights during the cruise, this promenade turns into this party zone. And, like, the singers and dancers get on these walkways that go across the promenade. And they have... And I think Glenda said on the Oasis, like, they have flags dropped and all kinds of stuff. But they've got lighting and... They're throwing stuff at everybody, and that's where the YMCA and because the one night we were on was the 70s, right? So they were all up there dancing and shaking and singing and the whole, like, and this is where, like, this wasn't this wasn't the club scenario. Like, this was where we saw the multi-generational families. Like, we saw little kids shaking their booties with grandma, shaking their tail feathers with their grandma dancing, and I was like,
so
like,
fun.
that is so awesome. So it's more like, they do like a conga line. They get anybody who's on, and I think maybe this, like, I'm sure people that sail Royal Caribbean, like, maybe this is something they do and everyone looks forward to it. It'd be like, I don't know what the equivalent would be on a Disney cruise, but it's like the sail away party or the Mickey, the little whatever. You see a real soon party. Like, it seems like everybody on the ship knew that in this promenade, this is where this party was going to happen, like this little street party, and it was pretty hopping. Like, the place was packed of everybody shaking, dancing.
Look at you on a party ship. And Glenda had a good time?
Yeah, she did. She liked it. We had to do some in-class training, so she did a little bit of R&R.
Excellent. And what was it like sailing out of Miami? I haven't done that in a couple of years.
Yeah, it was nice. It's just different. It's just neat to see it different. Right? To sail away with like a big city there and all of the shipping stuff, all the shipping containers and whatever. It was neat.
That's what I found different about New York too, like seeing the city go away in the distance as you're sailing out. Just different.
We got to do a couple specialty dinings on board, which was cool. Yeah, there's lots of
food.
Yes, there's lots of food everywhere. Like,
and it was good, decent food.
Yeah, plus, it was pretty good.
How were the elevators? Honestly, that's my thing. Norwegian has elevators like nobody's business. I never waited for one.
Yeah, no, these elevators were good. They were really good.
See? Yeah, that's if I had to critique Disney on something, that would be my issue on their ships is their elevators. They don't have enough.
No, lots and lots of elevators.
Well, that's good.
We took the stairs quite a bit. We were trying to take the stairs, but when we were really far down and later out in the week as we were getting tired, we took the elevator. If you like getting off the ship was easy. They have internet on board, Voom, I think it's called. It was fantastic. Like we had
FaceTimed, like we did a video call while you were out at sea.
Yeah. Yep. It was really good. Like and I think we had this, like I had the streaming internet, like the more expensive one. The highest one,
yeah.
I'm trying to think of how much it cost. But honestly, if you wanted to stay connected and you needed to stay connected and have access to that speed of internet, it's worth it. It's definitely worth it.
Yeah, like it wasn't choppy at all. You walked me around the promenade. I think at one point we might have been in the casino. Like, it was very, very good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Their dining room was beautiful, like multiple floors, like
oh, nice,
unbelievable, like 4 floors of this dining room. Like I kept trying, like we were in there one day for a meeting, and I was taking pictures of how beautiful it was from like the level that we were on. It was like, like this is what cruise ship dining rooms, you know.
Yeah,
that they look like, right? Like Disney's are awesome and different and totally, you know, not like anything else. But holy smokes, like a beautiful dining room,
grandiose kind of things, right?
But it did feel kind of like an old school cruise ship, like the way that it, like, you know, all the gold, like there was still quite a bit of like 1990s cruise ship gold all over the place and whatever. But I think I would go on one again, like depending if it fit what I wanted to do.
I'd like to go on a bigger ship.
Yeah, I'd like to go on one. I want to go on one of those bigger ships now, and I think I do understand, you know, the experience and can talk to it a little bit better. You know, it was a huge bummer that we couldn't go to Coco Cay, but like we had no say, like nobody had any say in the matter. No, because I think that would be really, you know.
Well, maybe we can find one on one of the bigger ships and do that. That would be nice to see that. And then after that, you drove over to Orlando and you went to Universal.
Yeah, we did. We went to Universal for 3 nights. We stayed at Sapphire Falls, and we had a 3-park ticket.
And how many, did you do a bunch of rides? What did you do?
Yeah, I didn't ride very many rides because they don't make me feel very good, those rides at Universal. But I really wanted to go.
Like, they are heavily skewed to 3D simulators and thrills. Right? Like, Universal's pretty over the top with that.
Like, Glenda went on quite a few things by herself or with our friends that met up with us there. But I went on E.T., E.T. Dr. Seuss. The Cat in the Hat ride. Sorry, not Dr. Seuss. The Cat in the Hat ride. We wanted to go on the little Dr. Seuss train, but we didn't. So E.T., the Cat in the Hat. I went on the Hogwarts Express.
Yeah.
And we went to the horror makeup show. I think that's the only things that I did. But Glenda went on a lot of the big coasters. She went on the Hulk and we didn't get to go on Hagrid, so we have access for early morning. So we got up bright and early. We were getting to the parks for 7:00 because that was we were leaving at 7 because extra hour was at 8. So we were getting up early. We were trying to get down on the boat. The boat transportation's amazing. And the first morning Hagrid's was down, and so they told us to go to the Velocicoaster. So we did, which I'm glad we did, because that was Glenda's. She says it's one of her most favorite roller coasters she's ever been on. And then the line's crazy. And then the next morning we were in early. And I don't know if the Hagrid's coaster wasn't starting until 9, even though we were in there at 8. So people were lining up, and right then at 8:00 or right before 8:00 or right after, whatever time it was, it said that it was a 240-minute wait. So we didn't do it.
Yeah. See, that's where I do appreciate sort of the lightning lanes and stuff like that, because either you get a lightning lane, like your standby or whatever, and you know when to come back, or you don't get, or you just know you're not going to get it. Like, yeah. Wow, 240 minutes. But
overall, like, I really, like,
how were the lines?
The app worked, I think, fairly well for us trying to determine if we were going to try to squeeze in things or if Glenda was going to try to go on some of these things. So, like, we used the app to check the wait times and to try to figure what the heck we were going to do next. Like, they seemed okay. Like, they're earlier in the day. Like, that's, I think the strategy is just like at the Disney parks, right? You're either going to go to the most popular thing and wait forever, or you can zoom around and do a bunch of other things in the meantime. You got to do one or the other. You go to the big attraction, or you get a whole bunch of other stuff done. So yeah, I think from 8 to 10 o'clock in the morning is, you know, you could probably do a whole lot of other things. Like the Hulk ride yesterday morning, when we decided we weren't going that way, was a 5-minute wait.
So it's kind of like Disneyland. If you know what to do first thing in the morning, you can really get a lot done.
Well, and I think that's where, you know, that's important. I think really knowing what to do and knowing what's open and what's not open, right?
Right.
Because there does need to be a little bit of, you know, being familiar with the maps or knowing what you want to do, which I'm sure most people do. Like, they must check out a little bit of what's going on. They're not walking in there blind. Mm-hmm. But yeah, but the app I found was really good too. Like, we could see what was open, because if it was closed, or it would say doesn't open till 9, doesn't open till 10, and you could filter by the parks or whatever. So, you know, I guess if you were on the app, you could kind of just determine what to do. But yeah, you could get a lot done in those first couple of hours, or you could wait for Hagrid's. Like, even that morning, like when we went straight to Velocicoaster, like she was probably on and off in like 15 minutes, and she said, like, in most of the stuff that Glenda did earlier in the days, what she said, she spent most of the time walking through the queue. We went on the one in the castle. What's it called? Forbidden Journey.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
And I walked through in the family room, and like, there was nobody in line, but it took us like the 10 minutes to walk through. We were pointing and looking and trying to take a few pictures, because Glenda loves Harry Potter, so we wanted to kind of take that in. But then I went to the chicken room, the family room, and she went on the ride, and she was we spent 10 minutes walking through, and then she was on the ride for 5 minutes, if even that. So.
Oh, wow.
And the same, And
the transportation was really good?
Yeah, the boat,
to get back and forth to the parks?
Mm-hmm. It was awesome. Like, the boat system is amazing. And I love, like, even though there's not a lot for me to do there necessarily, other than hang out in Dr. Seuss land, which is awesome. It was really neat because Christmas started, so they do have a bit of an overlay. Like, Dr. Seuss land is like covered in lights, and it's awesome. Like, there's a lot of fun details. Like, I think I could go there, not like I wouldn't go there every time I go to Orlando, but it's something I can visit every once in a while for sure, to like soak in all of that detail. Like, there's lots of little hidden things and a lot of neat stuff around the parks for sure. Like, even with taking pictures and trying to document some of the stuff that we were seeing, like, there's so much stuff. Like, you could spend multiple days there just really exploring and looking at things. And their resorts are awesome. Like,
yeah, you amazing. Were saying that the resort was really great too.
Yeah. Like, I would love to stay there for, like we did, for 3 or 4 nights, and then just go into the parks and mosey around. Like, I could easily mosey around there like we mosey around Walt Disney World, because there's lots of little details.
Right.
To see. And go on ET like 10 times probably, I guess. But
well, it's not much different. Like, sometimes we go to Walt Disney World and we don't ride much, if anything. Right. Mm-hmm. We're just moseying around. So
yeah, so I think that's for me why I don't feel like I don't need to go on any rides when I'm there. It's just,
you don't have to. And that's the beauty of some of these parks is, like, you don't have to go on attractions to enjoy the parks.
No, there's so many neat things there. Like, there's so many details, and really, like, if you did a VIP, like we did a Christmas VIP tour.
Yes. So how was that? I talked to you before you went on that.
It was really cool. Like, I was wondering what it was going to be, because it didn't really cost that much for like a VIP tour. So it was on Sunday night. It started we had to report in at 6:00. It took them like an hour pretty much to get everybody together. And then they brought us to like the Grinch show. That's horrible. I should probably have written
the Whoville show,
the Whosical musical, whatever the heck it's called. So they brought us to that, and we had seating up front. And then they walked us through to meet Santa, and because like Santa was like way upstairs on like in the Race Through New York, the Jimmy Fallon ride. Like, honest to goodness, we went through every little hallway, upstairs, downstairs, whatever, to get to Santa Claus in the Jimmy Fallon building. And then we went down, and I didn't ride it because it's the 3D stuff. Then whoever wanted to got to ride the Jimmy Fallon ride. But we were pretty much in the park when it was empty. Like, so we got to take pictures in the front of Universal, where like they have all of the streets. Everything was all lit with all the Christmas lights, so we could take pictures of the big jumbo tree. We could take pictures of the Macy's store. We could take all those pictures, and really nobody was around but us. And the groups they were small groups of 12 people, like 10 to 15 people in each group. So everybody's walking around the park doing what's on the itinerary, like how they've got it all sparsed out so that we're all in different spots at different times. So even when we were out on the street, there might have been 3 other little groups of, maybe not even that many, 2 or 3 of our little side groups that were in one spot at one time. And they brought us in behind, like we got to walk backstage to go between the parks, and it was really, really neat. So,
cool.
We ended up over in Seuss Land, and that's where we got to meet the Grinch and Max, the dog.
Oh, yeah.
Which was neat. And then they had food there for us. They had hot chocolate and drinks, and they had some food, like
How
cookies.
How was the hot chocolate?
It was good. I had that and some water, but we needed to drink water, but I had to get a hot chocolate to try. But they had cookies.
Because you like your hot chocolate.
And they had like curly fries, and they had chicken and waffles. So we spent 45 minutes there, and then we went to Hogsmeade, right? Yeah, Hogsmeade, and we got, like, there was nobody in that land except for us. So especially when we first got there, because we were one of the first groups, I think, that got moving. So when we first got there, there really was almost nobody there. So we could take pictures, and then we got to have a private viewing of the castle show that they do, which is really neat. It's really neat.
So worth it.
Yeah, it was. I think it was $79.99.
Well, that's
so I was
not
thinking
bad.
It was exactly like. So I thought we had to have a park ticket, but I would assume, like, if you're in the situation where you're there for the weekend, you're gonna have a park ticket anyway. So.
Oh wow.
But yeah, it was really good, and our tour guide gave us a few little tips here and there, but yeah, I think that was most of the stuff that we did on the tour. And so we were back to our room. Like, it was over at about 11.
Oh, not too late. That's not too late. I was expecting it was going to run later because when you said to me it was like 5 hours, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, but it sounds like it was kind of jam-packed with stuff to do.
Yeah, the first hour was waiting forever. So then then the show was probably like really half an hour.
Hours. Yeah.
And then the rest of it was kind of moving around. And then we had the 45 minutes when we got to the Grinch and Max.
Right. And then you didn't just do the 2 parks, you did the water park too. Volcano Bay.
We squeezed in Volcano Bay yesterday. Because we were going to do it Friday. The plan was that when we got off the ship, we were going to go try to do it on Friday. Well, when we got off the ship, everything went as planned, and pretty much the timing was perfect. I think we said the rental, we were going to pick it up at 10 o'clock, and then we had to drive from Miami to Disney, or Universal. Not Disney. It's when you call Orlando just Disney. When you call that whole area Disney, right?
It's just Disney.
You just have it. You just call that whole area of their state Disney.
Yeah.
We stopped to do a little bit of shopping on the way. So once we got into Lake Kissimmee, we had a Hobby Lobby, and we visited a Joann's, and
that's why. No wonder. This is why Carrie really likes to vacation without me, because people take her to Hobby Lobby and Joann's.
Oh my goodness! And so Glenda had not cross-border shopped since 2019.
Oh no! So was Glenda in her glory?
It was glorious. It was a glorious. It was a glorious time.
Oh my gosh! And you guys both had big suitcases, did you not? Did she bring?
Yeah.
Did she buy some good stuff?
Yeah, we bought some good stuff for sure. I think between the two of us, a Hobby Lobby, I think we spent maybe like $130 a Hobby Lobby together.
Okay.
And then we'd spent a little bit of money at Joann's. Joann's wasn't the greatest, but Hobby Lobby was beautiful. It was jam-packed. There was lineups because it was their Veterans Day. But I guess it's also like they're starting to have like Black Friday sales. But I think also is because after like the Veterans Day, like then marks its Christmas season, right? Like next day is Christmas season. So they had all their Christmas stuff was on sale, like 60% off. So like the place was just jammed with people, like cartfuls, like, but we were in there for quite a while. So by the time we got to the cash, there wasn't as many people waiting. But yeah, we buy these, they had all these die cuts on clearance. So I was like FaceTiming my aunt, like because I like pretty much grabbed everything because it was like they were on clearance. So I pretty much grabbed everything. And then I Facebook videoed her to like how like to look at them and decide which ones, because I didn't need to buy them all, that's for sure. So I was on video with her. We were looking at each one and determining
that's awesome.
Which ones we needed for our supplies of crafting.
Craft supplies.
Oh my goodness,
that's awesome. So she got some new die cuts.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. See, it was good thing you had a big suitcase.
Yes. But anyway, so we were talking about Volcano Bay. I don't know how we got... Oh, yeah, we were supposed to go on Friday.
You were supposed to go on Friday, but you took the detour through Joann's and Hobby Lobby. Yeah, got some
Saturday,
good stuff.
We were at the parks all day, and then Sunday we had that at nighttime. And we wanted to go in the parks again. Like, I wanted to really experience the early morning, too, to see what it was like, right? Just to... So, because we didn't get it on Hagrid's, we had to go... We were trying to go do it again. But yeah, we didn't think, we were not even going to go, but then I just really wanted to go and experience some of it as best we could.
Yeah.
As best we could. So we did go over, we were barely there for like 2 hours. We went on a few things and we had lunch, and then we walked back, because from Sapphire Falls you can kind of take a little like on the streets in between, and to get over there. It's supposed to be a 7-minute walk. We didn't know where we were going. It probably took us more than 7 minutes to get there. But one thing, like when we got in, like, I've looked at the park and I've watched lots of Tim Tracker videos of them at Volcano Bay. Once we got in, we had to ask people where to go, what to do, where, we had to rent towels. We went to the lockers and we were trying to find where we needed to go. And it's humongous. And really, if you go there, you gotta kind of pay attention to the map and really understand what rides what, because they just have the names and we're like, well, what does that
what does that mean?
What's that? But the one thing that was on my bucket list, the only reason really I wanted to go there was to go on the Fearless River.
What is the Fearless River?
So it's they have like a lazy river with tubes, and then they have a lazy river that's not lazy at all. It's like got all of like the wave pool type water shooting through it. You have to put on a life jacket.
Oh my gosh. So but are you in a tube, like a lazy river tube?
Well, there's two. There's one, like the regular lazy river is, what's that one called? They have a regular lazy river, the winding river, and that one's you get in the tube or whatever.
And you just kind of float.
But it moves it still moves pretty quick.
Right.
But the other one, the Fearless River, like you can't go in it unless you have a life jacket on. So you go to the area, you put on your life jacket, you jump in. This thing, it's
propels ridiculous. You, like, it's but awesome. You have nothing. Like, it's just you and your life jacket.
You just like tuck and float, and at certain points, like it's all bubbly, and at certain points, like the way it's like, because if you've been in a wave pool, right, like how the waves come at certain points of it, like that'll happen in the little river, and you just start flying, and the waves come up, and you see a big wave coming at you. It's so much fun.
Oh my gosh. But how do you not like hit a wall or anything on the side? Like, does the water just kind of keep you in the middle? You don't hit anybody else?
No, well, I guess you could hit somebody. Like, you could, I suppose. Like, the park that day, because it had rained a little bit in the morning, and maybe because it's a little bit cooler for Orlando people, there wasn't very much. And it was late in the day. Like, we were there at like 2 o'clock. It closes at 5. It was empty. Like, there was barely anybody there.
Nice.
So
our
you guys experience was a good experience. Like, you could have been on the beach. There was nobody around. So it was easy to...
So it was worth it. This ride was everything you thought it would be and more?
So we did that one, and we did the lazy river. We did the other lazy river, which was almost as much fun, like us trying to get in these friggin' tubes. Honest to goodness. Like, I think the next I will just put on a life jacket and kind of float around that one too. And then we went on the Krakatoa, what do you call it? It's a water coaster. So we went on one like legit real ride, and we used the Tapu Tapu. So I had the Tapu Tapu linked when I did mobile ordering the other day, in the day before in the park. I linked up so my Tapu Tapu was ready. It was good. So we Tapu Tapu'd. We came back a couple minutes later when my thing buzzed. It was a lot of fun, like, but honest to goodness, I was up front in this raft because there's only 2 of us. It fits 4, and like every time, it's like the water coaster on the Disney ships, or they have it at Typhoon Lagoon where it like propels you up and through all the whatever. Yeah. Oh my goodness, like the water, like every time we moved, like water shot all on my face. I had my sunglasses on, like I I think by the end, like my contact was like in a different part of my eye. I was like, oh my goodness, this is why my doctor tells me to bring my leftover contacts to things like this. But I'm like, Glenda's dying laughing because she's having a blast. Like I'm laughing because I can't even see anything. Like every time this thing moves, like I just get like a wave of water in my face and I can't even see a thing. Oh my goodness. I really didn't get to see any of the ride because my face was covered in water, but it was a lot of fun. So we did that. Then we had to eat something because we had to get to this party. We wanted to be early because they told us to arrive up to 1 hour early. So we were trying to get our stuff together so we could be early in case, like, I don't know, first come, first serve, whatever. We didn't know. And then we ended up waiting
an hour for them to.
We waited in the queue for the tour. And then once we got inside, we waited like till just before 7:00 for the show to start. So yeah, it was, so we were hurrying. We didn't have that much time at Volcano Bay, but it sure was a lot of fun, and it's humongous, and it's like, if the slide we went on was a indicator of the rest,
it's pretty good.
It's a lot of fun, yeah.
And definitely worth visiting.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Nice.
I'd like to go there to spend time at Volcano Bay, to hang out at the resorts and just meander around the parks.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like a good time.
Yeah, it was good.
Maybe that's something I'm going to have to look at doing next year.
You should.
I don't want to go during Christmas only because I was thinking about going at the end of our trip in December, but you said like there's Christmas decorations everywhere. So
yeah, I got ample pictures if you need any.
I'd rather wait. I'd rather wait and do it when there's no decorations up, just so that the pictures are like, I can use them again and again.
Yeah, just you'll end up going at Mardi Gras time, and then there'll be Mardi Gras pictures.
Yeah, true. Although it might be the closest I ever get to a real Mardi Gras. It's
a lot of fun there.
Yeah. No, that would be fun. Well, I'm glad to have you home. I missed you.
Home, sweet home.
You're
back
home,
to
sweet
work.
home. Yeah, back to work. Although you're not going in the office because you're not feeling well, so probably not a good idea.
No, work from home. Get caught up. Well, it's better. Like
lucky ducky.
Got lots to catch up on anyway, so it's good to be home and focus on stuff regardless for a couple days.
Yeah. It's funny. We were talking at work today about that, knock wood, I've never had COVID, and that I know of. And then we were saying, well, maybe I did have it way back when, in the January when you and I were really sick. And we were talking about it, and I was like, yeah, like I was sick for weeks and weeks after I got off that cruise before the world shut down. And I went to the doctors on my lunch, and they were all like, yeah, like I remember it. And I was coming to work every day, sick as a dog, because that's what you used to do. And now, thankfully, people are so much more conscious of that. They don't go into work or anything if they're not feeling well, because now we know better. But back then I was going to work every day. Yeah. So crazy. Well, I hope you feel better. I
feel fine. I just have a frog in my throat.
But since we've been on this call, I have seen what's in the cup you're drinking. Is it water?
It's like lemon tea.
That is the most I've seen you drink in like 6 days put together, is how much she's raised this cup. So that's how I know Carrie's got something in her throat, is I've seen her raise that cup and take a sip more than she has in like days and days.
Sipping so much so that I know I sound like a frog, but I don't want to. I'm trying to make it so it doesn't get any worse.
You sound fine. Not to worry.
Yeah, I feel okay. I'm not tired or whatever. I just have a bit of a frog in my throat, and it might end up being in my head a little bit, I would expect.
Maybe.
But
maybe
we'll see.
A little. Well, I'm very happy to have you home, and thanks for sharing the details of your vacation with us.
My pleasure.
And you're only home for a couple weeks before we go back. And it's okay, we talked about it, remember? Jinxies and everything. Yay!
When you come home from a trip, the thought of going away so soon is not always.
I know. Well, we've done that a few times, and it's hard. It's hard. But, anyway, Carrie. Mm-hmm. It's that time in the podcast. Are you going to share what brought you some pixie dust?
Well, I'm going to say going on my trip with Glenda and having oh my goodness, lots of fun and lots of laughs.
Yeah.
Yeah, Glenda is like BFFs with our friend Anna.
Yeah.
They those two together were like, oh my goodness.
Double trouble
and like making us laugh so much. Oh my goodness. We laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed. So lots of laughing, lots of singing, lots of silliness.
Oh, that's good.
It was good. That part was awesome for sure.
Oh, good.
What's your pixie dust?
Well, it's funny because I said to you, I think my pixie dust is going to be my homemade poutine. And you were like, what? But it's not really homemade. Who are we kidding? It was, I found a thing of gravy, the mixed packet of gravy in the cupboard. And I made that. And I put some frozen fries in my air fryer. However, the secret is I have that shredded cheese. The packets of shredded cheese I buy. Mm-hmm. And I put that on my fries. And then I poured the gravy on it. It made the most delicious poutine. So I've had it like 4 nights in a row, which is not good for me. But
you need to get rid of that. You need to finish
I need to finish the cheese now. So yeah, no, but it was really, really good. It's funny. It was just, I never ever thought to do that before, which makes no sense. I don't know why I wouldn't, but yeah. Anyway, came together.
Good for you.
Yeah, it came together nicely. And we got another review, Carrie.
We did?
We did. It's
so the one. Which one is it, though? You sent that?
I sent it to you today. So people, they don't. When I get an email from this service that tells us when we get reviews on Apple, I sent you the screenshot this afternoon because I love it when we get reviews. It's fun. So this one is 5 stars. And it's from Jay Varga via Apple Podcasts in Canada. And it just says, you can't help but laugh along.
Right. And I know the Vargas. Mr. Mrs.
You do. You do.
And I didn't know that they listened.
It's weird when you find out that people listen, right?
It might have been Mr. Vargas' birthday the other day, and I messaged him and said happy birthday. Also, and I always remember his birthday because his birthday is the same day as my mom, and I think that my birthday might be the same as his mom's or something funny like that, like weird.
There's some connection there.
So I messaged him happy birthday. And he said thanks, and he said I was listening to you this morning talk about bathrooms. And then I was like, oh my goodness.
Oh my God. I'm telling you, that bathroom episode has got more mileage. It's hilarious. Our friend Jeremy messaged me and said, I'm glad that you called out the bathrooms in Tomorrowland, but you should have given them more credit. Oh. The ones over by Space Mountain. See? So
thank you for the review.
Thank you, Jay. That was very nice. Thank you for listening. And so see, Carrie, we said, we're going to do 20 minutes. Let's see how long Carrie's voice holds out. And look at us again. We could talk for hours. Yeah. So friendly reminder to everyone, we are taking a bit of a break in December, but there will be a podcast episode next week. But just to remind you that we will be off for the month of December and coming back with some fun in January. So until next time, thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Pixie Dust Fan Podcast. We hope you enjoyed the episode.
Make sure you're following us on your favorite podcast player so you'll get a new episode every week. And find us on social media too. We'd love to hear from you.
Till next time, remember, you are never too old to be young. Chase your dreams and design your own happily ever after.